reckon it's time for something new in the driveway. What do you reckon about this? Let's go take it off road. Okay, campers, welcome back to 10 Cent Adventures. And I'm on a little drive out to a town called Kyalla in northern Victoria. And I'm out to go and see the legends at Aaron Brain Motors. These guys have kindly offered me the use of a Ineos Grenadier Trailmaster for the weekend. So I'm going to be dropping the Prado off to them, and I'm going to pick up this Grenadier and give it a bit of a rundown for the weekend. Now, I've got to have a chat to them about what I'm actually able to do with it. It's a loan car. I don't think I'm going to be taking it off-road and trying out its off-road specs, but you never know. Let's see what they have to say. But I want to give them a big shout out and just say a huge thank you for the support and the offer of the vehicle. Just absolute legends, and a stark contrast to what I experienced when I did the test drive of a 250 Prado. It just went past me that way. The Toyota were not as, shall we say, welcoming, and as you saw on the video, it didn't give me permission to film, only wanted to give me 15 minutes in the car. It was overall just not a particularly positive experience with Toyota. So I guess the next question is, are we buying a Grenadier? We'll see. Part of this whole test drive is not just about filming this for you guys. It is quite literally for us to have a bit of a dry run with it, see what we think. Is it a vehicle that we like? Is it something that I can live with as a day-to-day? The Prado is my day-to-day drive. It's my vehicle I get to and from work with, as well as being our getaway and caravan hauler. So, look, I'm not sure whether we are going to buy a Grenadier. I've got to get Carla on board. It is a bit of a step up in price from what we paid for this, although, and I'll talk about it further in the video as we do some test driving, but there is a significant uplift in vehicle, and the difference in cost isn't as much as you might think. And more importantly, if I was going to upgrade to something just to be able to tow the caravan with something with a little bit more engine muscle than what the Prado's got, and this has got plenty of muscle, don't get me wrong, but if I was looking at something that I can go off-road with as well as tow the caravan, my options are things like 70 series, which has got the same engine as this, so if I'm trying to get more power, that's not really the direction we're going to go. Nissan Patrol, it's petrol. I would prefer diesel while we can still get diesel vehicles in Australia. That's a whole different kettle of fish. And then on top of that, it's really then down to things like the Toyota 300 series. So a 300 series, even at the base level, well over 100 grand. And you don't get much with the base model. In fact, if I want to get anything that comes standard with the base Trailmaster Grenadier, so the off-road spec version, I'd have to start looking at a GR Sport, which is at $155,000. So that's a lot of coin for a car before I've done anything else to it. That's no GVM upgrade. That's not even putting off-road tyres on it. It's not putting a snorkel, bull bar, winch, all the stuff that I would want to do to any car that I pick up. It's going to get modified to a degree, because Ineos do a hell of a lot at factory, and I can get the whole thing fully spec'd, roof rack, the works, for less than the cost of a GR Sport with nothing done to it. The only thing the two things would have in common is the GR Sport would have diff lockers. That's it. A couple of the other things, I really don't like lift-up tailgates. I really like the barn door. The ability to put a table on it, like many people do with the Prado 150s. I actually get a table to the barn door from factory with the Grenadier, which is awesome. So there's a lot of things to consider when you look at what you can get for your money. Anyway, guys, I will see you in a couple of seconds, possibly in the front seat of a Grenadier. Yeah, see you in a second. So if you're wondering what I'm doing here in the Grenadier and going up this track, and I'm pretty sure I said earlier on that I didn't think I'd be getting to take this off-road. When I spoke to Simon at the dealership, said, thanks for loaning it to me, etc. I'll take it for a bit of a drive, but obviously I won't take it off-road. His response was, why not? That's what it's made for, and if you're going to even consider buying one of these, you want to know what it does off-road. So go for it. Just don't break it. So I'm doing a bit of a... anytime I see the fallen tree on the track or anything that could potentially scratch the paintwork, I start getting a little bit nervous. Obviously this is not a complex off-road track, more of a dirt road, but even still, we're just going to keep wandering down this track and see how we go. Alright, I'm not so sure about this one. I'm going to give it a bit of a walk before we commit to... Look, it's an easy track, or semi-easy, but I'm in a loan car that I don't want to have to pay for if I decide at the end of this I don't want it. And we've got no recovery gear with us, no winch, no max tracks, and I can't even really let my tyres down too quickly because all my gear is still in the Prado. So it's quite steep. Very steep actually. That doesn't worry me so much. It's more about what the terrain overhangs are going to be like. Oh. I can tell you, if I had the Prado, I would absolutely be doing this. As a matter of fact, if I actually owned this car and I had all the stuff with me, I'd also be doing it. It's dry, it's not too badly washed out, but yeah, I don't want to risk the paintwork. Oh, it would be good, but where that goes, just in through here. Just a little bit tighter than I'm comfortable with in a borrowed car. We'll continue on the current track and see how we go. Alright guys, I think that's it for our little off-road adventure. I'd love to do more of this. I'm actually kind of, I want to say addicted, but I would really love to take this somewhere far more extreme and really give it a thorough workout where I need to use diff locks and have recovery gear with me and probably another couple of vehicles. Don't have that at the moment, so that's not really going to be possible. We might call it a day out here in Mount Disappointment and start making the long trek home. And when we get there, I'll tell you a little bit more about my thoughts and opinions on this and whether I think this is a good value vehicle or whether it's something you should potentially consider for yourself. Let's have a bit of a chat about some of the... I actually want to talk about the cons of this vehicle before I go into the pros. I've got a couple of reasons for that, but look, for a base spec, you're talking $107,000 vehicle. If you're talking Trailmaster or the Fieldmaster, without doing any other mods, you're talking $120,000 up front. You can add on a lot of accessories after that. I think the spec that I've got myself up to, if I was to purchase one of these, is around about $145,000. We're not talking small money. So for that, what do you get? And I guess, all in all, compared to something like a 70 series, this car is really nice. The interior is luxury-esque, I would call it. So this doesn't have the leather seats, and that's absolutely something I would do if I was purchasing this vehicle, partly because you also get the heated seats, and I can tell you where I live, during the winter, those mornings are very, very cold. The heated seats are something that I really do like about the Prado. Another thing I have in the Prado that this doesn't have, even with the upgraded interior, is air-conditioned seats. Now, to be fair, I don't know that I've felt that much out of the air conditioning seats in the Prado. I don't know if I'd miss them if they weren't here. But look, that's not a huge consideration. The interior feel, the switch panels, the ceiling panel above me, they all feel really good, really nice. Tactically, the tactile feel is really nice. A couple of little things, some of them, the little metal brackets around the hazard light button makes it really easy to find. Does it feel a little gimmicky? I don't know, I'm in two minds. I think in some ways it does. It sort of makes it look a little bit like an attack helicopter, but at the same time, I still think it's a nice look. The interior compass with your altitude and facing down to the individual degrees is actually a really nice little additive. Where it gets a little bit interesting is in front of the steering wheel. What you'll see here is an instrument cluster. Actually, no, you won't. What you'll see here is just your lights telling you what is on. I'll just turn my headlights back to auto so they'll drop off. I haven't got my seatbelt on currently, and I can see that my park brake is active. If I engage any of my four-wheel drive equipment, the lights are going to light up in here. Engine warning lights, etc. It's all in this little panel here, but directly in front of the steering wheel, there is nothing there. No tachometer, no odometer, nothing. It's just your warning lights. Everything else is located over here on the infotainment screen. Now, you can see here the other issue that I have. The reflection, you can see my hand here, and quite clearly in the reflection, but this part here, if I'm driving and I've got the sun at almost any angle through the windows, you get a lot of glare off the touchscreen. Now, if I shade it with my hand, it doesn't really do much. You can purchase aftermarket a sort of a shield around this, but I think this really needs, from the driver's position, this really does need some sort of anti-glare screen covering. I know you can get them, so that's definitely something I would be considering. So, look, having said that, the seats are really, really comfortable. You lose out on things like electric seats, so they're all manually adjusted. There's no fine-tuning with electrics. Again, it's one less thing that can go wrong in the vehicle. I do like it in the Prado, but it's one less thing that can go wrong. That's about really it from a cons perspective. Almost it, actually. The one other thing I would add with the cons here, the doors. it was something that was said to me by Simon at the dealership. He said, if you open up the bonnet, make sure you really smack it down hard. And he's not wrong. If you don't absolutely slam that bonnet, I'll get a warning light up on the screen telling me that the bonnet's not properly closed. And the same goes for any of the doors. This is a car that is built to be abused, really. So I guess it's a pro and a con. If I don't, even when I had the warning light with the bonnet being slightly up, even though it was fully closed, it just hadn't triggered the sensor, I couldn't lock the car. So it does give you the warning that you can't do certain things, you can't lock your car, etc. But I guess that's just it's a good feature that if it's not locking properly, if you haven't got something shut, you can't lock it, telling you to go back and close it. But at the same time, I don't know, it just feels a little bit, makes the build quality feel a little bit less than it probably should. Otherwise, look, it does feel premium interior, definitely compared to something like a 70 series. It's much nicer inside, much nicer. The party piece is absolutely the engine. Coming back onto the freeway after we took this out, the jumping from 0 to 110, this thing is a rocket. I thought the go fast button in the Prado was something else, but the 6-cylinder BMW engine in this car it does make me want one. I guess the other side of this, a few other cons actually. The wing mirrors, they're a little bit small, your visibility does feel a little reduced, and you don't have blind spot monitoring in any of the specs that I've looked at. That may be something that's available. I'll put something down in the description if I find out that it is. I'm going to have a chat to the guys at the dealership when I drop this back in 2 days' time. But yeah, at this stage, no blind spot monitoring, and I will say that the visibility out of this is not as good as the Prado. The front passenger seat is very much in your way when you go to do a head check to your left. You really are restricted. In fact, I'll attach this to my forehead and I'll just give you a bit of a look at what I'm looking at when I do a head check. It's just completely blocking the view. So yeah, lack of some of those safety features is not good. The lack of some of the other safety features is actually really good. This is a driver's car. It takes you don't have adaptive cruise control. You set your cruise and that's it. And if you are not paying attention and you're looking at something other than the road in front of you, you are going to run into the back of the stationary vehicle in front of you. There is no adaptive cruise control, no radar sensors, nothing. Personally, because I'm an old fart, I like it. It brings me back into being in control of the vehicle rather than relying on sensors and other things to drive for me. No lane departure assist, so the steering wheel isn't suddenly going to yank left or right as it's trying to stop me from changing lanes, even though that's what I'm trying to do. I have turned that feature off permanently in the Prado, but I believe in the 250 series, it's not something you've got to basically turn it off every time you get in the car, which would drive me absolutely mental. You don't get climate control air conditioning, it's just on or off, so you don't get a temperature. It's just almost the old school sliders. This one's with dials, and again the tactile feel is really nice, but yeah, that's what you get. So all of that said, all of that with the list of things that I find a little bit weird, different, unusual, I still really like it. It is a really pleasant car to drive. It is European indicators, so you've got to rewire your head if you're used to a right-hand indicator. This is now a left-hand indicator, so that's taken a bit of rewiring on the. And I apologise to any of the truck drivers who may be watching this that saw me high beaming you from behind as I was trying to get my wiper fluid up. And I do apologise, I was using the wrong hand. Yeah, that was a bit of a challenge originally, heading back home from the dealership. I can also say that everybody that I've taken for a drive in this car, with the exception of Carla, has been for the most part impressed. Except for you, Ian, I know you're an anti-Defender person, and that's perfectly fine. But everybody else that's been in it, sat in it, had a look at it, thought it was really nice. I'm really torn. Ooh. While I'm at it, one other weird feature. If you want to access the bonnet and access your engine bay, you can't access the engine bay from the driver's seat. The switch is in the passenger footwell, all the way down there. Inside the front passenger footwell, I mentioned earlier, you've got this. You have to pull it twice. It's up once, and you actually hear it. I don't know if it came through on camera, but you hear it go chunk and then bounce a little bit. So this is the engine. She's a bit warm at the moment because I've only just come back from a bit of a drive. But the one thing you'll notice in here, there is no battery. You do have a positive terminal here, and that's what I actually hooked up the air compressor to yesterday, just to check it out before heading out on our little off-road adventure, and it worked just fine. But yeah, this is definitely the Grenadier's party piece. This BMW engine is ridiculously good. A mate of mine actually had a diesel sedan with the same engine, and that thing was a rocket ship. So surprising for a diesel engine, but when you put the foot down, this parties. All right, and yes, I do have to be that firm. All right, come through to the back. We have the back seats. Now, I haven't actually worked out how this works yet, but apparently that battery that's missing from the engine bay is under this seat. Fold it forward easily enough. Now in the Prado, you pull another button and the whole thing flips up, but I don't think that's the case here. Let's open up the back. It's quite a narrow gap to get in, but the door handle just here. Pull that open. Good as gold. See, I can see clearly that that seat does not fall forward any further. You can see it's where the hinges are. That's all bolted in here. There is a drawer you can get as an optional extra that'll sit here. You'll lose these clamping rails. You lose access to them if you do put the drawer system in. But I'm going to ask some more questions about those tomorrow when I drop the vehicle off, because I actually really like this system. These little plugs just grab the outside, push in, slide, and out they pop. Where this is going to be good, or would be good for us as dog owners, if you don't want the dogs running around, lock it in and attach their lead to that. And they're going to stay while the vehicle's parked. Obviously wouldn't do this while they're moving, but that's just going to lock the dogs into the side of the car. Better than what we normally do, which is tie the leads to the wheels of the caravan or something similar. So yeah, look, that as a system, that's really good. They're really firm. That's not popping out. That's a really good system. Alright. See, we've got a power outlet. If this had a dual battery system, which they no longer do from factory, which is a bit of a disappointment, but if it did, this would power your fridge. Backs of the seats are sturdy plastic, no seat pockets in this particular version. Now, if you use your seat pockets, that's a problem. If you don't, not a problem. decent sized buckets in the sides of the doors. I think this has got the upgraded sound system in it because the audio on this is really quite good. And the bit that everybody wonders about, the fuel. So this is the diesel model. It does have AdBlue in its current spec. This model, as it is, I could walk away 125 grand lighter and this vehicle would be mine. Question is, should I do it? It's time to drop the Grenadier back, and I'm two minds on this one. I really like this vehicle, but I really like my Prado. I'm going to make the drive back, see what they have to say about the value of the Prado, and then I've got some big thinking to do. Some really big thinking. It's a lot of money. Well guys, I've pulled up in Kyalla. I don't want to give the car back. I really don't want to give it back. But I can see Simon coming up, so I'm going to jump off. I'll be back in a sec. Well guys, it's been about 3 weeks since I've returned the keys to the Grenadier. And I've had a look around at quite a few other vehicle options in the background. Why? Well, the Prado is going to start becoming less and less relevant for people watching YouTube. And I've done just about everything to this car that I can do. A few limitations, put a battery system in and a few other bits and pieces. But the interest in that is going to start waning more and more because the car is no longer produced. So unless you're buying a second-hand one of these and looking for options, it reduces the channel's exposure. So I've got to look to what is the future for 1010 Adventures. So I want your comments down below. If you're a Prado driver and a subscriber to this channel, would you unsubscribe if I change vehicles? Or would you be interested to see what comes next? Now the other thing is, why am I looking at the Grenadier? I've looked at quite a few vehicles, and I can say, quite honestly, that without a doubt, bang for your buck, it is the best value four-wheel drive you can buy at the moment. It's expensive, but what you get just for the base model, so if you don't upgrade it to either the Fieldmaster or the Trailmaster specs or anything else, you're looking at $105,000 and you can build it up from there. It is going to be more comfortable, and I can tell you from having driven it, much more well behaved on the road than the 70 series. You'll get a few more mod cons, much bigger touchscreen interface. That ZF gearbox that's in the Grenadier is magic. That BMW motor is brilliant. It's on a V, but it is a 6-cylinder engine. And it's solid. It is a really good engine. It's a party piece. You put the foot down, that thing just launches. So, it's a good car. For equivalent money, you could probably start looking at you could get a 250 series Altitude. I personally wouldn't. I think they've just completely stuffed that design. Maybe in a couple of years. As I drive past one turning up that street. Nissan Patrol. Problem is it's petrol. So, in the sort of ballpark money field you're looking at, if you're looking for a robust, off-road capable vehicle, it's got to be the Grenadier, in my mind. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm out of my mind. It hasn't technically been proven. It's still a very new brand, particularly here in Australia. But from what I understand, they're pushing them out in mine sites rather than 70 series, because the 70 series has gone to the 4-cylinder engine that's in this car, and they just don't think that that's going to be up to mine site tasks. plenty of views and opinions on that one. So let me know in the comments below. I've got 2 quotes in. I've got a quote for a wagon with quite a few pre-delivery modifications. It's expensive, and while I can afford it, it's probably a bit more than I want to pay. Number 2, I've got a quartermaster with a Norwell canopy on the back. It's a full tray replacement, and I'm waiting on the quote for that to come through. It's going to have all the same trimmings pre-delivery that I want, so winch pull bar, etc, etc, etc. And then there'll be things that I can do afterwards. And it will be significantly cheaper in the initial cost than buying a wagon. So let me know in the comments below, what would you do? And would you stay subscribed if I got rid of the Prado? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this one. I've got a lot to think about. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.